My 9-year-old daughter pulled the emergency brake on our school bus during a field trip, and she saved 40 kids from dying. The piercing screech of the emergency brake cut through the happy chatter of 44th graders as our school bus lurched to a violent stop on Highway 15. My daughter Sophia had yanked the red emergency handle with both hands, sending kids flying forward in their seats while the bus driver, Mr. Rodriguez, fought to control the skidding vehicle. Backpacks and lunchboxes went flying as the bus finally stopped just 150 feet before the Millbrook Bridge. "What is wrong with you?" Mr. Rodriguez shouted, turning around to glare at Sophia, who was still gripping the emergency brake handle. "You could have killed everyone on this bus." The other kids were crying and yelling at Sophia for scaring them, while the parent chaperones demanded to know why she'd pull such a dangerous stunt during their field trip to the Natural History Museum. Sophia stood up in the aisle, tears streaming down her face, and pointed toward the bridge ahead of us. "The bridge is going to collapse," she said in this shaky voice. "I saw it happen in my dream last night. The middle part falls into the water and everyone drowns." Mr. Rodriguez rolled his eyes, and several parents started muttering about Sophia being a troubled child who needed professional help. But then Sophia pulled out her sketchbook where she'd been frantically drawing during the bus ride. Page after page showed detailed sketches of our yellow school bus plunging through a collapsed bridge with stick figures of her classmates trapped underwater. She'd drawn the exact bridge we were approaching, complete with the distinctive blue steel arches and the Millbrook Crossing established 1959 plaque that was visible from where we'd stopped. "Sophia, honey, that's just a bad dream," said Mrs. Walsh, one of the parent volunteers. "Bridges don't just fall down, especially not ones that have been standing for over 60 years. But Sophia shook her head violently and opened her sketchbook to another page where she'd written down specific details about what she'd seen in her nightmare. The pages showed timestamps and sequence of events. 11:23 a.m., bus drives onto bridge. 11:24 a.m., loud cracking sound from support cables. 11:25 a.m., center section drops. 11:26 a.m., bus falls into river. Sophia had written these notes at 2:30 a.m. according to the timestamp on her phone, hours before we'd even left for the field trip. Mr. Rodriguez was already radioing the school to report Sophia's behavior when we heard the first deep groaning sound coming from the direction of the bridge. Everyone went quiet as a low metallic screaming noise echoed across the water, like steel cables being stretched beyond their breaking point. The parent chaperones moved to the windows to look at the bridge, which appeared normal from our distance. Then we saw the delivery truck. A large postal vehicle that had been crossing from the other direction suddenly sped up, racing across the bridge like the driver had felt something shift beneath the roadway. The truck made it to solid ground just as the center span of the Millbrook Bridge collapsed in a thunderous crash, sending chunks of concrete and twisted steel plunging 90 feet into the river below. The entire busload of kids and adults sat in stunned silence, watching pieces of the 64-year-old bridge disappear into the churning water. If Sophia hadn't pulled that emergency brake when she did, our school bus would have been in the exact center of that span when it gave way. 40 children and 7 adults would have died in the freezing river, trapped inside a sinking bus with no way to escape. Mr. Rodriguez's hands were shaking as he turned around to look at Sophia, who was still standing in the aisle holding her sketchbook of drawings. "How did you know?" he whispered. But Sophia just shrugged and said she'd been having the same nightmare for 4 nights in a row, always ending with her classmates drowning because nobody believed her warnings. The emergency vehicles arrived within minutes, along with news crews who'd heard about the bridge collapse on their police scanners. When they interviewed Sophia about how she'd known to stop the bus, she showed them her sketchbook drawings and explained about her recurring dreams. The reporters were fascinated by the 9-year-old who'd saved an entire school bus through what she called seeing the bad thing before it happened. Sophia became a local hero overnight, but she was traumatized by the experience and started having panic attacks every time she saw a school bus. We had to start driving her to school ourselves because she was terrified that her dreams might not work next time, and she'd be responsible if other kids got hurt. The school district provided counseling, but Sophia kept saying she felt cursed because she could see terrible things happening but couldn't always prevent them. The bridge investigation revealed that decades of deferred maintenance and recent ice storms had weakened the support structures to the point of imminent failure. Engineers said the collapse was inevitable and could have happened at any moment, but Sophia's intervention had prevented it from becoming the deadliest school transportation accident in state history. 6 months later, Sophia was honored at the state capitol for her life-saving actions, but she told the governor she wished she'd never had the dreams in the first place. She just wanted to be a normal kid who didn't have to carry the weight of knowing when something terrible was about to happen.